times in the history of our organization. For more than 50 years, our honoree and her late husband have given their heart and soul to NPH. This organization is their lives. They have dedicated their time, energy, personal finances, and recruited hundreds of people to our mission, many of which are in the crowd this evening. Barbara volunteered at the NPH office here in Phoenix and worked on countless fundraisers and has quite literally helped to raise millions of dollars for NPH. She and her late husband Don also opened their home to Pequeños to live with them while they attended college here in Arizona. And you might say the Pequeños adopted them as well. Their home was often a place that the Pequeños attended college gathered for fellowship. There were backyard parties, barbecues, school parties, songs. Our honoree and her late husband also became godparents to Shayla Lopez, who is here this evening. And it's no coincidence that two of Shayla and Lionel's children are named Donald and Barbara. Barbara and Don instilled passion for service in their children and grandchildren, many of which are here tonight. Of the 5 recipients of this award, one of them is here this evening, Mrs. Martha Fogler, and one of the other 5, yes, give it up for Martha. And one of the other 5 honorees is Barbara's late husband, Don. Talk about a close up moment. And now we have a special video to share with you. Please give your attention to the screen.
Barbara and I first heard of the orphanage through my business partner, Frank Cannell, who had gone to school with Father Wasson at St. Mary's. And he got involved very early in the game. In about 1972 or 3, he and Peggy, his wife, asked Barbara and I to come down and see the orphanage. And of course, we were hooked immediately.
Barbara and Don were a team, something wonderful to behold. So while we were in meetings and planning and talking, Barbara was with the guests and with the people who maybe hadn't been to Mexico before. So she would talk and she would listen and she would answer questions, and she was always charming, always able to help them and subsequently become friends.
I have had the good fortune of traveling to several of the homes with Baba and Grandpa Don, and the first trip I ever took was to Nicaragua. And it was such a special trip, and it's really where my love for NPH started, and it was because of their love for NPH.
My mom, Regina Bonfilio, she got very involved with Barbara, and Barbara got her involved in NPH, and Barbara was always in the front and center of getting everybody involved and taking part in Mexico and the orphanage and helping the children wherever they could.
I feel like Dawn was such a profound leader, and Barbara was so unbelievably heartfelt, dedicated to Father Wasson and NPH that she absolutely deserves this.
Well, I know Father Wasson, having been a volunteer down there, and his story, to know that he was a man that saw a child that was in need and opened his arms and brought that child in and sought ways on how to take care of him. Barbara lives that same way. She has found this thing and she finds people to support her in it. So she with Father Wasson hand in hand are very, very similar in getting NPH going and keeping it going.
On a very first trip that I went to Mexico,
Barbara was on the plane, and I went and talked to her because I wanted to have a godchild. And I said, Barbara, how am I going to figure out who will be that godchild? And she looked at me and she smiled and she said, Ginger, you don't have to think, you don't have to do a thing. That little person will come up to you and say hi, and you'll know all there needs to know.
I think the most beautiful memory was that we decided to be married. And we asked them if they could give us the kids, and they did. Grandpa Don took me to the altar, and Grandma Lee took my husband. And for us, it was an unbelievable memory. Maybe that's why right now we're still together, because the good example and the blessings that they gave us.
The spirit of Father Wasson definitely defines Barbara. She is there for the kids, she's there for everyone, and she really wants all of the children to feel the love and community that Father Wasson created for them. Barbara, it's wonderful that you're being recognized, but the thing that you really need to know is that you are very loved. We all love you very much.
Father, I am eternally grateful for the lessons that you have taught me, for the experiences that you have given me, that I now am able to give to my kids and continue my lifelong mission to make the world a better place and to always help those that are less fortunate than I am. Thank you for everything. I love you.
Porter Prince and Lee, congratulating you on this great award, 15 years of service to the NPHA family. God bless you and all your staff.
Rio Baba, descansa en paz. One PhD, I go in PhD. I congratulate you for his honor and thank you very much for your winning the service for NPHA.
Bye, family.
Rio Baba, congratulations. What a wonderful thing. I'm so happy that you received the Spirit of Father Wasson's Award. Thank you for all the support you have given to our NPHA families. And more than anything else, you know, I love you.
Barbara, congratulations on winning the Spirit of Father Wasson Award. Welcome to the club. You are so deserving of this award, and we're so grateful for your years of service and love of NPH. Every member, first being the last, having loved forgiveness, Barbara and I, in their laughter and their gentleness and their fun of it, it meant it was not what they were looking at, it was what they saw. And it still is. It still is with Barbara.
Dear Barbara, congratulations on your Spirit of Father Wasson Award. Your exceptional generosity for this extended family of NPHA has made a huge impact and a huge difference in the lives of so many children in need. You deserve a standing ovation. I'm so happy for you on this outstanding reward. Que Dios te bendiga and receive a great hug.
Invited Donna and me to Mexico. Frank and Peggy's family are here tonight. At this time, I'd like to ask them to please stand. Unfortunately, Tom and Kathy Cannell could not be with us tonight. Pardon my voice. We will miss them. Thank you for coming. Yes, Frank said, "That's us." So we drove about an hour and a half to a lovely, charming old hotel. Frank said, "There's a cocktail party on the patio. Peggy and I'll meet you down there." When we got to the cocktail party, we were given name tags that said NPH, our name, and where we were from. My goodness, there were so many people down there from all over. We mingled a while, and Don took Frank aside, and he said, "Okay, Frank, what's NPH and why are we here?" Frank said, "Thank you." Frank said, "It's nuestros pequeños hermanos," and it's Spanish for our little brothers. Thank you. And tomorrow, we're going to visit Father William Wasson and his children at their home. We arrived at the home to hundreds of children with smiling faces. Children of all ages. The big ones were holding the little ones. It was beautiful. We visited their dormitories and their classrooms, all neat and orderly. We were served a delicious lunch that had been prepared right there in their kitchen. Then Father Wasson told us of his philosophy. No family will be divided. Support will come through sponsorship and unconditional love. And he wanted his children to learn the cultures of their country. This was clearly working. Don and I embraced his philosophy, and we talked about it all the way back to the hotel. We got back to Arizona, and Don walked in Frank's office, and he said, "I want to be on your board. I think I can help." And he did. About 40 years ago, we started the Women's Auxiliary. And at this time, I'd like to have Kathy Collins to please stand. Kathy's mother, Regina Von Blue, was our president the whole time we were in existence. Every year when it was time to pass the Gala, we'd say, "Regina, will you do it one more year?" Under her leadership, we had cowboy capers out at Bud Brown's farm, and maybe some of you remember that. We raised a lot of money, and we had a lot of fun doing it. As NPH grew, so did our involvement. We took our children and our grandchildren to the different countries, and they became involved in fundraising and sponsorship and volunteering. And now, the great-grandchildren are following suit. And at this time, I'd like to ask my family to please stand. There's a member of my family I'm honored and humbled to receive this award, and I share it with my family. In closing, I'd like to read a sentiment that's on Don's stationery. 100 years from now, it will not matter what kind of car I drove, what kind of house I lived in, or how much I had in my bank account, nor what my clothes looked like. But the world may be a little better because I was important in the life of a child. God bless you, and God bless the children.